You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Good evening and welcome. This is the Paranormal Pop-Up Show and my name is Kerry Greenaway, and tonight I'm joined in the studio by another regular of Parasearch. That's our lovely Paul Rook, and the rest of them have all disappeared for the evening out for a Saturday night. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening.
How are you, love?
Yeah, I'm alright. I want to know where everyone else is because we don't get invites ever.
Well, we did, it's just we can't get there, so that's kind of why.
Where is everyone then?
Well, we've got Taylor May's birthday, my one of my lovely goddaughters that I've adopted along the way. It's her birthday, so that I think Kaz and Mark are actually celebrating Taylor May's birthday. And Penny, well, I think Penny's just sitting there with a bottle of wine after the week she's had. She's had a bad week. She's had a
but you sit there with a bottle of wine.
I know, but I'm an old pro.
Well, I'm off to Taylor May's birthday, so see you later.
Oh, okay, so I'm doing this one on my own.
No, I'm here now. Muzzle stay.
Oh, thank goodness for that. Thank goodness. But it's a Saturday night. Again, me and you doing a show.
Yeah. No social life.
No, we're normally out and about, aren't we? That's why we haven't done it for a few weeks.
Yeah. Mind you, I was out Wednesday night, so that was my weekend. It was.
It's thrown you off completely, hasn't it?
It did last night, actually. I keep thinking it's Saturday last night. For some reason. I don't know.
You took over my show for me. Thank you for doing that.
I was glad to get your shoes off, I tell you.
I know, they're high, aren't they? They're very high shoes.
They are. You get vertigo
small.
with them. Yeah, very.
And by the way, everybody, I don't wear curlers. Just putting that out there. I don't wear curlers. Unless it's a very special occasion. Then obviously I take them out before I go out, clearly. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, tell me, what was you doing on Wednesday?
Okay, on Wednesday, I was invited, along with a medium friend of mine, to go and do a ghost hunt with the presenters of Heart Radio. I know. It was really interesting, actually. They asked... The producers actually asked me to do a bit of research on the building, and there's two parts to their studio. You've got like the new build and then an old building on the back. And the old building used to be a school. And we also found out that the school before it was a school was owned by... It was a townhouse that was owned by a guy called John Hunter. And he was, at the time, known in the Victorian period as the Knife Man, because he used to own an anatomy museum. And he used to order cadavers by the thousands to be delivered to his townhouse in Charing Cross Road. And he would basically take them in there and start cutting them up because he had some weird, strange obsession. So we found that's some really gruesome history to do with that old building.
Fantastic.
It was, and we was telling the presenters this. So I mean, the filming, because we filmed it all as well, so it will be live. Well, it won't be live, but it'll be out on TV, Heart TV next week.
Cool.
And they're also posting it on YouTube, and I do believe it's going on their website as well.
Brilliant.
For their Halloween special type thing.
I hope you gave Parasearch a little mention.
Do you know what? I can't remember.
Oh, that is naughty.
I'll tell you, that whole night, we turned up for filming at 5 o'clock in the evening till 10 o'clock. Then they paid for a hotel room for us for the night, so we could be there bright and early at 4 o'clock the following morning.
I love that, bright and early.
I know. 2 hours sleep I managed that night. And when I finally got home at 9 o'clock in the morning, I think I put a film on to watch, and I just laid down and fell asleep. And then the next thing I knew, it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and like the whole day is gone.
And then you can't sleep that night then, can you?
No, it totally turned my sleep pattern completely right around.
So are you allowed to tell everybody what you found?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we was given sort of 10, 15 minutes in each area with I'd say celebrities, but they're more presenters. You had like Toby Anstice and Matt Wilkinson.
Yeah, I love Toby.
Yeah, Toby was absolutely fantastic. I think he's a sort of believer in the paranormal. But he was really interested and really into it, where Matt was more sceptical. And as we were going around, we showed them how to use the Ovulus and the K2 meters. We tried the SB7. No, we had an SB11 for that one, which is the ghost box that does 2 radio signals instead of the one. So, we was trying those experiments out, and for some reason, on the Ovulus, it just constantly swore at Toby Anstice. I think at one stage, Matt was like, "This spirit really does not like you."
Mr. Skeptic went, "Yep, this spirit is not liking you, Toby."
Exactly. I mean, it was calling him, like, words beginning with W, and telling them to go away, and obviously not that politely. Calling him every name under the sun, basically, and it was quite amusing, really, especially with Toby Anstice.
Did he find it funny?
He did, yeah. They both did. It was almost like a nervous laugh, I think, more so, because they knew that it was real and genuine.
Well, that's it. You can't. What comes out comes out. You can't fake that.
No.
Yeah, you can argue the point on the actual tech itself, but you can't argue what comes out of the tech.
Exactly, and we did say to the producer, because the producer said that they, wanted it to scare the pants off them, basically, and they were going to do things to make them jump. And I stipulated that if they want our involvement, then we were going to do a genuine ghost hunt. We wouldn't fake or anything like that.
Good for you.
I stood our ground, and they still agreed. But the only thing was, though, that at the end of the investigation, we would stop at one end of a corridor and say, right, we need to go and get our equipment. So the producer, the manager for the film crew, he said basically, right, we're going to go back and get this equipment for the paranormal guys. If you go down to the end of the corridor, you can start your your after ghost hunt interview.
Right.
So they started walking off down this corridor, and one of their runners jumped out on them in costume.
Oh, did they cack it?
They did. Every one of them, and there was like 3 groups of 2 presenters, and each set of presenters absolutely needed to change their trousers and stuff afterwards. It was so funny.
Brilliant! So that's the only thing that they did that you they didn't fake anything else on the evening.
No, didn't fake anything else. Then we moved on to two women, Sean and Kat, I think their names were, and they were scared before they even started.
Oh, bless them.
They were they made my night. They were so funny. They were very down to earth people, and we gave them dowsing rods to try.
Oh, cool.
And as they were doing say yes, can you give us a yes sign or a no sign? And they started moving. They just couldn't believe that they were moving, and they were like, "Look how still my hands are. Are these magnetised? No, they're genuine. They're just bits of metal, you know." And it just wowed them so much. We took them down into the basement, and there was also plague pits that the medium picked up on.
Okay.
And we got as close as we could to the plague pits. So we tried like the dowsing rods. Again, this is all on film, so you'll be able to see this on Heart TV. And yeah, it was just absolutely amazing. We was calling out for spirit to throw things at us. And one of the girls, I think it was Sean actually, she said that something fell down her top. And I was like, well, I'm not going to go after it. But
well, maybe you should have.
Well,
opportunity you just missed there, Paul.
Oh, no. No, I'm not going to go diving on camera. It was just so funny. They were petrified. And then again, we'd done the whole, we need to go and get our equipment. You walk down the end of the corridor. And... they were just quivering wrecks by the end of the night.
Oh, bless them. Would they do it again? Did they say they would do it again afterwards?
The two girls, no. They're quite adamant that they'd never do it again. One of them, Kat, she was actually doing her show that night, so she was in the building on her own.
Oh, God, bless her.
So she was sort of packing it a little bit. But no, it was really funny, really good time. And then we wrapped up at 10 o'clock in the evening. Went back to the hotel, and then by the time we got to sleep and everything, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and our car was coming for us at 4 to go back and film the last two people, and it was Jamie Theakston and I can never remember this lady's name.
Sarah Faulkner.
That's the one. Yeah, and you told me that before the show.
I did. I know this better than you do.
Yeah, it's just her. I just can't remember her name. I don't know.
Poor girl.
Well, I don't really listen to the radio show that she does. That's what it is. That's not an excuse, and I'm sticking to it. I'm never up that early. But yeah, she was quite into it in a way, because she was scared and she was expecting the producers and that to jump out, and we didn't do any of that. Jamie Theakston, he was quite a good sport, really. It was almost like, he was sceptical, very sceptical would be the best way of putting it.
Well, Jamie does his own TV series, doesn't he, called Forbidden History?
We spoke about that actually.
Yeah, and I love that program. I have to say, of all the programs I've seen, that's one of the ones I really love. And so for me, I think Jamie probably knows more than he lets on about things, because he's worked in that way. Do you know what I mean? He's like,
absolutely.
Done a lot of work that way.
Yeah, he was quite scientific and methodical in what we was doing.
He's a really good researcher. Well, I say he's a really good researcher. His program is well researched.
Yeah, absolutely. And we tried a different experiment with him.
Okay.
We sat him down in, I believe it was Chris Tarrant's old studio, where he used to do his show from, and we sat him down in the studio, and we took away his senses. So we put a blindfold on him, we put earphones on him, and we played in white noise.
Ah, the Gansfield
And
experiment.
that's it, yep. And we shone the torch flashing into his face. Although we only had, we didn't have much time with these two, because obviously they had to put their show out. So we had probably about 2 minutes of that experiment running.
Well, that's not very long to do that experiment.
No, we was hoping for a little bit longer, but yeah, I mean, he said that he didn't pick anything up through that. But we was like, well, normally we would run that experiment a little bit longer.
A lot longer.
Yeah, and yeah, so we didn't really get much out of that, to be fair. But again, they packed themselves when they went down that long corridor.
Oh, it gets them every time.
It does, and yeah, I mean, when we finished, I think we finished at 6 o'clock in the morning. So we was 6 o'clock in the morning, Leicester Square. So I thought, what can we do? I know, we'll go and have some breakfast.
I was going to say, it's breakfast time.
Yeah, so we went over to McDonald's and had a bit of breakfast.
McDonald's? There's so many amazing places to eat. I'm sure you could have found somewhere better than McDonald's.
Well, we could have, but it's nice and cheap, isn't it? Cheap and cheerful.
This is true.
And then I held down a cab for the first time ever.
Really?
Yeah, and we
Did
got
you
the
do
cab.
it New York style-y?
Yeah, just like wave and whistle, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was brilliant. It really was a really good week. Well, good weekend, I say, but good couple of days.
Weekend, but yeah. No,
It
I'm
was.
Really
It was my
glad you had a good
weekend.
time. Now we need to do a little shout out. We need to say a big thank you to Kerry Ann, because the opportunity for this actually came through Kerry Ann.
It did, absolutely.
So
and
that's a massive thank you to Kerry Ann.
it's just a shame she couldn't make it.
Oh, I know.
She would have loved it.
She would have done, and I'm sure other opportunities will come up where Kerry Ann can definitely be involved. In fact, we have a little exclusive, don't we, Paul?
We do.
About our lovely Kerry Ann.
I'll let you go with this one.
Kerry Ann is coming back to Parasearch.
Yay!
Woo-hoo! About bloody time is what I'm saying.
She takes her time, doesn't she?
Well, you've got to give a girl a chance, you know.
Absolutely.
She's coming back on the 28th of October, Saturday evening. She's starting off once a month with her Seventh Sanctum show. So we are very, very excited at Parasearch to welcome Kerry Ann back to the ranks, because we always loved her Seventh Sanctum show, and it's about time.
Yeah.
It's about time.
Give it a few weeks and she'll be on every day.
Exactly. She'll be taking over the joint. I'll be retiring.
Yeah.
I'll be like, thank God someone else can take the reins.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, she's coming back once a month to start with. We're breaking her in gently. But I'm sure before long she'll be back fully fledged once a week.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That'd
I'm
be
putting
awesome.
words into her mouth here now. But no, we're really pleased that Kerry Ann is coming back and feeling ready to come back to the radio. So that's absolutely awesome news. So, so that's good. It's all good on every front, really, isn't it?
It is. Absolutely. It really is. And you was out the other Friday night, because I had to do your show for you. Yeah, last night it was. I've slept since then, so it's fine.
Gosh, yeah. I went to Hockley Woods with some guests under Trident Paranormal, who I am a host for, as well as doing my private work. And it was my turn to hold the reins as a lead host and drag these poor people around. Now, everyone knows how much I love a wood in the middle of the night. Everybody knows this. It doesn't bother me at all. There's never been a wood I've gone into that I've gone, I don't like this. Do you know what I mean?
But I bet Hockley Woods was one of the woods that you was glad you got out of.
Eventually, we got out of Hockley Woods because everybody knows woods look very different at night to how they do in the day. So I'd done a recce, I'd worked the plan out, as you do.
Well, they look darker.
Pardon?
They look darker.
They also changed things, I swear to God, just to freak people out in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And the route we decided upon, we started off on the wrong foot straight away because we didn't go down that route. We went a completely different bloody route. But it was good. We had a really good time. But it is definitely in stone. Don't trust me with tech. in the dark, in a location. I can't work it. I just
Terrible.
can't. I took it
at
all.
least
I'd worked it all at home. I got it all working. I knew what I was doing, what all the buttons did. I knew where I was going with it. Thought, great. I'm teched up for once. I've got this. I've got this. Darkwood, torchlight. I have not got this at all. So we stuck to what I know best, which is the spiritual side of things.
And you took your stones.
No, I took some pendulums with me. So we did human pendulum, we did crystal pendulum work, we did a circle, we did a couple of circle experiments, we did a Ouija board, and we tried to do spirit box, but that failed miserably.
Okay.
And we did an awful lot of laughing. We did an awful lot of talking about all sorts of things, history of the woods and elementals. Funny enough, elementals you talked about on the show.
We did, and we come to the decision that shadow people were really elementals.
Oh God, how did you come to that decision?
Well, we thought that logically, at the beginning of when they evolved, they were just dark shadows as energy. Right. But they're quite inquisitive about what we're doing. Right. So the best way to interact with us would be if they were in the form of a shadow person. And I don't know about you, but every time I've seen a shadow person, it's always that they're really inquisitive and they look round corners, and then when you see them, they duck back.
I have to disagree.
I thought that actually sort of made sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear my point of view?
Go for it.
An elemental will appear to you in regards to what your belief system is set up as. So if you come across an elemental, they'll come across as an angel, or they'll come across as a demon, or they'll take a form that you have already, without even necessarily realising it, have got set in your mind.
Okay.
So that's how an elemental will take a form. It will draw on what's in your head and what your belief system is and appear to you in that form. That does not fit with a shadow person.
So when we went to Kelvin and Hatch, we was in the medical bay, and there is a strange energy in that part of the building.
Yeah, I agree. I believe in
think that
it's an elemental.
I think that, yeah, I was going to say, I agree. I think that is an elemental. Now, in that particular part, you do get shadow people. Mm-hmm. You also get the shape of a cat, a black cat. Again, shadow of a black cat. And when we done some filming in there, when we was there last, we actually caught a face looking at us through the medical blinds.
Yeah, wasn't that face almost goblin-like, though?
It was. So, I still think there is an elemental in there, and I think the shadow people could be attacked. Whether or not it is literally a shadow elemental, it just makes sense. If you want to interact with someone, you can take on that form to make yourself more interesting, if that makes sense. Because I mean, we see a shadow person at the thing on Wednesday in one of the corridors.
Studios.
Yeah, and it was almost like it wanted us to go down there to interact with it.
Right.
So if that was an elemental and it wants to learn more about us and what we're doing, then it's going to make it more appealing to take on that form, isn't it? That's why I thought maybe we could sort of go down that logical route of explanation.
Okay, from my understanding in regards to elementals, they will appear to you in whatever form. So if you've got your head set in a shadow man figure, then yes, there is that possibility that they would appear that way because they're taking on the form of what's in your mind. If you have in your mind, the white
fairy.
lady, or a fairy, yeah, or a goblin, or an angel or a demon or something like that, or even Jesus. I mean, there's a story that Andy was talking to me about, Andy Mercer was talking to me about last night. I didn't quite follow where the story was going. I'm not going to repeat it because until I verify what the story was, but it was basically a man went into a church and somebody followed him in, but his belief system was that Christianity, basically, with Jesus, with the stigmata, and that is how the elemental appeared to him. Was like the form of Jesus with the stigmata and the crown of thorns and everything. But it was an elemental, but because the man's belief system was that strong, that's how the elemental appeared to him. So yes, in regards to how an elemental may appear to you if it's decided to show itself, that is possibility. But the majority of shadow figures in the paranormal field, they're witnessed an awful lot. I would say there's possibly some of that. I would say there's possibly pareidolia. You're seeing something with your eyes because your eyes trick you all the time in the dark.
Yeah, we did discuss that as well last night.
Yeah, to be fair, you did do that. Your eyes do really trick you, and to an extent that I didn't even realise until I looked into that. I mean, we talk about dark masses. This is another prevalent thing. Oh, there was a really, really dark mass. You're in the dark, but this was darker than the dark. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's an eye thing. And that can take form in green mists, red mists. Your eyes are really not trustworthy at all in the dark. Having said that, when we was in the woods last night, they were doing the Ouija, and me and Andy were stood away apart because we were having a little private discussion about stuff. And he went, "Did you see that?" He said, "It looked like somebody had just ducked out the way." He said, "Just over there by that, we were right on the boundary at this point."
Yeah.
And there was you could see lights in the background through the tree line, so it was intermingled. But it looked like somebody had just ducked out the way quite quickly. But in those lighting conditions, it could be a trick of the light. You can't discount that you're completely alone in those woods because they are open to the public 24/7. You know what I mean? There was talk of a Wiccan coven working in the woods that night. We didn't see anybody. That doesn't mean to say they weren't there. Do you know what I mean? It's very difficult, I think, in the dark to say you definitely saw something because your like Steph has just put in the chat room, your eyes and your mind do play tricks on you. It's incredibly strange how much your eyes and your mind can play tricks on you in the dark. Now, I've never seen... I mean, Mark was talking about a shadow, I believe, that we saw at a barn that we investigated.
Yep.
And when I was... Because I listened to the show this morning to check, to make sure that you'd be good boys.
Well, it's too late now, even if it wasn't.
I was going to say, I could always delete it.
No, I'm going to make a copy.
Oh,
I'll be
God
published.
damn it.
It's fine.
No, I have to say I was... you can't discount that your eyes and your mind play tricks on you in the dark. And I think a lot of shadow people or animals could be put down to that. Having said that, until I see one myself, you know what I mean? I don't recall seeing one on an investigation. Not one that sticks in my mind that I go, "Oh, God, yeah, do you remember seeing that shadow person?" Yeah, I know Andy Mercer saw one at Woodchester Mansion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Clear as day.
I have seen his footage.
And he's a psychotherapist. I mean, he's not prone to flights of fancy as our Andy Mercer.
No. And he did swear about it as well. He was like, "What the is that?"
Yeah. He was like, "What the heck was that?" You know what I mean? When he's telling you about it after the event, he still says, "I don't know what that was." And I'm aware of everything that the mind can do and the eyes can do and the physiology of yourself and all, the psychology of yourself. He's very aware of that. And even he couldn't get his head around that one.
Yeah. I've seen the footage and it is really interesting. There is something there.
Yeah. And you saw something similar when you was at East Drive.
Yeah, we saw, legs. I still don't know what they are.
And
I
yet
know
another
what it appears to
investigator that was
be.
with you thought it was just the play of torchlight.
Yeah, he was on drugs that night.
We won't say that.
Not literally.
No,
Not
we
literally.
No, he wasn't on drugs that night. But he's a seasoned paranormal investigator who knows a lot.
Yeah.
And he had one opinion, and you're a seasoned investigator, and you have a different opinion of what
Yeah.
that was. Do you know
Totally
what I mean?
opposite.
And looking at the footage, it's very... it's
controversial.
hard to call it. It's hard to call it because I see both sides' points of view on it.
Yeah. I mean, if you was there, you would probably... Because there's 3 of us there that night, and 2 of us don't agree with the one that thinks it was the light.
Yeah.
And actually being there does make a difference because there's no way. I mean, he said that it was light, but light travels in straight lines.
Torchlight, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I don't care what he says. It couldn't have got through that solid brick banister. It just can't do it. Light doesn't go around corners.
But it does bounce.
Yeah, but there's nothing for it to bounce on. But that's what I mean by being there. You have to be there to know.
This is the thing. You have to know the location as well, don't you?
And if I ever do go back, I'm going to take measurements and I'm going to plan and plot it out. I'm telling you, it's it's going to be done.
Well, that is something in the
Got to be done.
pipeline, Paul.
Yes, absolutely.
It is in the pipeline. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Working on it.
And then when I prove that it is actually something unexplainable, the light man just
Well, we shall see. We shall see. It's something. It's interesting though when you have 2 seasoned investigators have a piece of evidence that they're both present for, have 2 very opposing views.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I respect both. I do respect both investigators. So from an outside who wasn't there on the investigation, you're looking at it coldly, and you're looking at it in a way that you're... I mean, I'm no expert in regards to light tricks and bending light and all that tosh. Do you know what I mean? But it is incredibly fascinating when you look at the footage.
Yeah. I mean, I do disagree with him, personally. But I want to go back and I want to prove whether or not he's right or I'm right. That's what the investigating's all about.
It's about
we've got
debunking or verifying.
We've got 2 theories there of what it could have actually been.
There's my little wine bottle being screwed back up there, guys.
Yeah, so I do want to go back and I do want to start taking measurements and actually plotting it all out and proving that there's no way that it could have been light.
Well, we shall see. As I say, it's work in progress, possibly, and hopefully we'll be able to work it. You know what I mean, and see what we can do. I'd like to investigate 30 East Drive regardless.
Yeah,
because it's got so much hype to it.
It has. I don't know why, but
I've done that location.
Yeah, I mean, we did go there before, obviously, and we didn't get that much. So I would, again, other than investigating that particular incident that happened to us, I would like, hopefully, for more to happen. So we can investigate that as well.
Yeah. Well, let's take a little break and move on in topic. And we'll be right back just after this.
Hello, Harry Price here. Good evening. If there's nothing myself and everybody else enjoy here on the other side more is the sit back and relax and listen to Parasearch Radio with its paranormal news, views and reviews from across the UK and beyond. Make sure to find out more about them on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web, whatever they are, to keep up to date with all their broadcasts throughout the week. And I hope you enjoy them as much as we do over here. Hello? Is anybody there?
Welcome back to to the Paranormal Pop-Up Show this Saturday evening. I'm joined in the studio with the lovely Paul Rook. And
Hello.
Before the break, we were talking about locations and shadow. We were talking about last night's show a little bit. We've talked a little bit about the investigations we've done. And we were talking about the show that the guys did last night as well. And talking about locations, it's so difficult sometimes because some locations you go to and you'll have an awesome night where you get like loads of like weird stuff happen that you then have to like review and go back on your footage and go through and then maybe debunk most of it, but have a few instances where you're like, well, I'm not sure what's happening to that. And then you could go back another time and it'd be dead as a goddamn doornail.
Yeah.
Isn't that one of the most frustrating things being a paranormal investigator?
It is, but the secret is, though, to not just do a location just once. You go there and it could be dead, nothing there at all. But then you go there, as you said, the second time and you might get lots of activity. So it's always important to try and go back to a location at least 2 or 3 times because it could all be different each time.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I mean, one of the experiments we did last night in the woods was like we got into a clearing. This is deep in the woods, by the way.
Yeah.
And we turned all the torches off. And I said, right, I want you to just stand here for a minute and just take in the atmosphere and tell me how you feel. Because this is almost like, in the woods, you can't do baseline tests at all.
Yeah.
Really. It's just impossible to do, other than trust your own body. So I was like, I want you all to just, stand here just for a minute and tell me how you feel. And now we're in autumn, in the woods. You have got conkers falling from the trees, acorns even, falling from the trees. You've got birds, you've got wildlife, you've got God knows what wildlife around you in there. There's definitely badgers, definitely foxes. I think there's muntjac deer, the tiny little ones.
Yeah.
In the woods, you've got a lot of sound. So the lights go out. It's pitch black because your eyes aren't used to the dark. Because you've had torchlight on up to this point.
Yeah.
So your eyes are taking a while to adjust. So it is literally pitch black, and everyone's standing around, and you're just hearing the noises of the wood. Now, personally, that's something I absolutely love.
Yeah.
That's just, call me weird, I don't care. I love that. That's nature at its very best. When you're just stood there in the dark, just listening. And I said, one girl goes, oh my God, this is like quite scary. I went, I'm telling you now, if you run away, I'm the one that's got to run after you. I won't be happy. I will swear at you a lot. You won't like that. I will shout at you. You won't like that either. So if you get scared, one thing you don't do is peg it in an opposite direction. Just think Blair Witch Project. Not setting the scene at all for them at all there, was I?
No,
if
no,
you weren't
really.
scared before, you certainly will be by the time I'm finished with you. And but just to give them an idea of what it's like being in the woods completely dark. And somebody actually said to me, a question they asked me was, would you do this on your own? Completely on your own? And I was like, yeah, I would. I walk home from nightclubs on my own. I walk home from the station late at night on my own. I have no fear of that. Do you know what I mean? And I will walk a way that's like off the main road. I won't stick to a main road because my point of view on that one is if I'm on a main road, people see that I'm a girl on my own walking.
Yeah.
I'm more of a target. If I go off piste, as it were, like off the main road, nobody knows I'm there.
Yep.
And if you're a maniac in mind to do that kind of crime, you're not going to hang around in the woods in the middle of the night on the off chance some weird girl is going to be on her own, walking through the woods or walking, over the golf course or walking, on where I live. There's quite a lot of like little, country ways you can go without many people being around.
Yeah.
If you're in that mind to do that kind of crime, that's not where you're going to hang out, is it?
No, it's not, is it?
It's not. So you're probably safer that way. No one knows you're there. You know you're there. You're on your own. No one else
That's
is going
it.
to be around at that time of night because everybody else is scared of being on their own at that time of night or in those places.
And the odds are even as well. Because if you're walking around in the dark and you could hardly see, if someone else is doing the same, they can hardly see either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know. But
So
I
you're
have
totally
no fear of that whatsoever. And they were like, really? No,
Yeah.
no fear of it at all. I've done it all my life. I've never had any problem. I've had
Yep.
more problem walking down the high street late at night. You know, coming out of a nightclub with my mates, you know, walking down the high street. I've had more problems in that way than I've ever had when I've been walking in that way late at night on my own.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting
No,
anybody should
I
do
wouldn't
this,
have a
by the
problem
way.
doing that either.
I'm not putting it out there publicly that, girls, it's fine to walk in the middle of the country on your own at night. I'm not. But personally, it's a personal thing. It doesn't have any fear for me.
No.
And they were like, oh my God, you're so brave. No, I don't think I am. I just find it very comfortable to do that. I mean, there have been times I've been scared. I'm not saying I'm that hardcore. But do you not find that it's about controlling that fear?
Yeah, it is. And I think a lot of people get scared more so when they can't control anything.
Yeah, I agree.
So
But
as
if
long
you're
as you stay in
of
control.
your fear, then you are in control.
Yeah. Very much so. I think one of Penny's shows was done on Chislehurst Caves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they used to do a challenge. They called it the Chislehurst Challenge. Mm-hmm. And basically, the story is that in like Victorian times, they used to use the tunnels, and there's like a rock pool in the tunnel, and this young woman fell to her death into this pool, and she drowned because she couldn't get out.
Yeah.
And the challenge is that her ghost still haunts that area. Mm-hmm. So they will take you down there with a little lamp with a candle in it and leave you there overnight on your own. And that's the challenge. One person has only completed that, and he only completed it because his candle blew out in the middle of the night. He got scared so much he ran, and because it was pitch black, he ran straight into a wall and knocked himself out. And he was found the following day unconscious, and they obviously brought him out with the ambulance and everything. And he's the only person that's ever completed that challenge.
So what do you win if you complete that challenge?
Do you know what? I don't know, because we're probably going back about 20 years with that. I mean, I grew up near to the cave, so I knew of that challenge, and I've only ever been there once, and that was with a scout troop. We done a trip there, but I that's what they told us. As humorous as it was, you know, they never done the challenge after that for health and safety reasons. But
yeah, they put a stop to that little challenge, didn't it?
Exactly. I mean, I'd love to go down there and do a paranormal investigation.
Did they not do them now?
No, they won't allow you for that reason.
Oh,
because if you get scared in the dark, you're going to find the wall. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, going on that, is there anywhere in the world that you wouldn't do?
Oh,
There's
no.
a question.
No, there isn't. I'd investigate anywhere. No, because the whole reason getting into the paranormal and investigating was because I want to experience spirits and the paranormal activity. Mm-hmm. So if someone says, oh yeah, this place is haunted, it's really active, I want to go there. When we go on like normal investigations and we have a medium, for example, and they go, oh no, I don't want to go in that room, it feels wrong. I'm the first one to go, right, well, let's go in that room. I want the experience that has to offer. You know, I've been to places where things have happened and I can't explain them. But, yeah, I mean, we done an investigation on a Thames barge in Malden, It was Maud. And we was helping out another paranormal group, and they asked us to do a ghost walk in the evening and then a paranormal investigation on the boat. So we said, okay. So I managed to do the ghost walk, and off I went, and I left one of our members on the boat to tape down all the wires and stuff to the cameras. And the person I left on the boat, she radioed me up and said, "Can you come back? Weird stuff is happening." So I'm like what? And she said, "Well, first of all, something called my name. Then there was a loud bang, and I was so scared, I'm now sitting on the deck, and I'm not going down there." And I was like, "Okay, I'll be back in a minute." So I got someone else to do the walk for me, and I came back to the boat. And sure enough, she was sitting on top of the deck, and I was like, "Right, well, let's go and see what happened then." And she's like, "Well, someone called my name first of all." And I said, "Well, that could just be your imagination, because it happens to me sometimes. You just hear someone call your name, and you're like, well, yeah, my imagination. I'll put that down to." But she said then there was a loud bang. So I'm like, okay, well, let's have a look, see what could have caused this loud bang. So we was going around cupboards and knocking things off the wall, and was it that? Was it this? Was it this cupboard? Bang. No, none of that. So we couldn't find an explanation for that.
Okay.
And I then remembered that we got there the night before and set the cameras up the night before. So they were rolling from Friday night right through to this Saturday. So I was like, well, what we'll do, we'll rewind the cameras and have a look, see what happened. And sure enough, you can see her taping down the wires and looking round when someone called her. And then you see her running up the stairs. That was the loud bang. But once she disappeared up the stairs, you saw an outline of a little boy walking across the fireplace and down the corridor to all the bedrooms. Wow. And it just disappeared. And I was like, wow, there was nothing else on the camera other than that for the whole weekend. We couldn't put it down to a computer, like the glitch, because it just didn't happen at any other period. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a regular thing either. It was just that one strange thing on the camera. And yeah, I to this day, I can't explain it. Yeah, it was really interesting, that was.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating. I've not seen that footage, Paul.
No, no one has.
Ooh. Can I see it?
I'd have to find it.
Amongst your many files you have on your computer.
Yeah, so many.
You have loads, don't you?
I do, and I'll tell you, the best footage, though, is from 30 East Drive. That's because it's so controversial, and so many people have offered up other explanations for it as well. Mm. So, as an investigator, I'm not putting it down to something paranormal. At the moment, it's unexplained.
You should send it to our friend Kev.
Yes, I think I should.
It's what I think you should do.
Yeah, I shall speak to him and see what he has to say on the subject.
Yeah, put it out to your peer pressure. Or not peer pressure, peers. See what they make of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, talking of weird name calling, when I lived with my parents years ago, obviously, I was a teenager. We lived in a house, and Mum and Dad would regularly say that they got woken up. Me, never got woken up. And then I hit clubbing years, and I was out, so I never heard a thing. And but apparently there would be like bangs that would go like halfway up the stairs, and then a massive crash, and then it would sound like a ball was bouncing down the stairs. Dog would go crazy, and that would be that. But I never heard that. Now, I woke up quite a few times to all the taps in the house being on. And there was occasions where Mum used to, with a tea towel, she used to drape it over the hob to dry out after being dry, after the drying up was done. Not that I ever did that either.
Yeah,
I was such a bad daughter. I was such a bad
That's fine.
daughter.
I have a problem doing the washing up as well, so don't worry about it.
The drying up part. It was going to dry itself. What's the point? Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point
Exactly my point. So, I think Steph is relating to the fact that she can hear her baby in the background.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, bless her. You've got the dog, haven't you?
I'm looking after her dog. Yeah.
Just in case you were wondering if that was Paul's stomach, it's not. It's the
I
dog.
tell you, so, the last couple of nights, actually, since doing that heart radio, right, she lays on the sofa in front of me, because I lay on the bed, which is next to the sofa, and she looks up above me at the window and starts barking, and she's done that 3 or 4 times since doing the radio.
Oh, you need to do a clearance.
No, I'm not bothered. I'm like,
I brought an entity home with you.
I said to the dog the other day, it's fine. If it's spirit, it's only come to say hello. It's not going to hurt me. It's going to go away.
Exactly. It's not going to hurt you.
Exactly. And then she just calms down then.
All right. Anyway, back to my story. Anyway, so I was like, I came in one night from being drunk. And as always, because those were the years of drunkenness. I know things don't seem to have changed much, but you know. And every tap was on in the house. So I've gone round, I've turned them all off, I've gone up to my bedroom, sat down, and then I heard footsteps. So I was like, right, I'm going to catch this ghost that my mum and dad, you know, have been talking about for ages. So I get up, and I've got like the bravado of being a little drunk.
Yeah.
That bravado. And my sister sleepwalks, and I didn't realise. And she'd go around, turning all the taps on. I followed her around, turning all the taps off. And I cursed her the whole way around, go, what the heck are you doing? Why are you turning all the taps on, you weirdo? As you do in young teenage years.
Yeah.
You know, and she didn't wake up, and she went back to bed. And the next morning, Mum and Dad were like, what happened last night? And I was like, mate, you know you've got a problem with that girl. She sleepwalks. So I reckon all that activity in that house was down to my sister sleepwalking.
Very possible.
There was one time I was alone in the house, daytime.
Yeah.
I was on the sofa, I was reading a book, dog was asleep in my lap, right? It was a little cocker spaniel, gorgeous little thing. Anyway, she sat up, started barking at nothing. So I was like, oh, shut up, Sally, you know, sit down, calm down. And then it started striking her. And then I heard from upstairs, and I swear to this day, a real guttural sound, someone called my name.
Okay.
I grabbed her lead. I hightailed out of that house as quick as I could. Never went back until my parents had got home. I came home and they were like, where have you been? I was like, mate, something called my name upstairs. I ain't going up there again. I was like, right. So you can imagine me as a teenager. You think I'm precocious now. Back in as a teenager, I was horrendous. And honestly, I couldn't. And that's, even to this day, I can't explain that. So when you say that girl had her name called, I relate to that because that happened to me. And it was definitely, I was alone in the house. Nobody was there. It was definitely somebody calling my name.
Yeah. I get that sometimes, but because I get premonitions, it's almost like someone needs me. And it's normally somebody that I know as well. So it'll be their voice calling me as opposed to a strange voice. And then I know that they want me to ring them, or do you know what I mean? Or something like that for whatever reason. So that tends to be my superpower. Yeah.
I love that. That's your superpower.
That's my superpower.
What was it? Was it you guys that said about Guardians? You're a guardian of the galaxy last night.
Yeah, it was. It was on Facebook. I thought it was quite amusing. It said, if you're a security guard and you work for Samsung, could you be the Guardians of the Galaxies? I thought that was quite amusing.
Cool. That is so cool. I
thought that was quite
want to work
amusing.
now at Samsung just to say
Be
that.
a Guardians of the Galaxy.
I actually want to do that.
Oh, well, I have a Samsung Galaxy and I am a Guardian of the Galaxy.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Now, there is another thing I want to talk to you about before we disappear for the evening.
I didn't do it. No team did it. Can't prove anything.
Right. I watched a film. I know.
Okay.
I know. This is
Well
unusual behaviour for me.
Yep.
And it was a film, and I can't bloody remember the name of it. It was where they was all in an office block, and the office block got shut down?
The Belko Experiment.
That's the one.
Yep.
Awesome film. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it.
Very much so.
Psychological experiment extraordinaire.
Yep.
How much does that tell us? I know it's a film, but put yourself in that situation. How much does that tell us about the human psyche?
I think I think it's testing the human will to survive, because it's the strongest, thing that you've got. You will do whatever it takes to survive.
Your instinct.
Yeah, that's it.
But there is that hierarchy within that. What the film is basically is they all work for a company, and the office block is in the middle of nowhere, and it gets shut down. And when we talk shut down, it's like locked down. You can't get out. And somebody else takes control of the building and basically says that if you want to survive, you have to kill, I think it's 30, isn't it, to start with? 30 of your colleagues. Otherwise, they will do it. And the time's up, and it's all like, oh, it's a jest, ignore it, carry on, don't worry about it. But because you're in a lockdown situation, your instinct is kicked in, because you're wary straight away. Your fear factor is there. So you try and get yourself, first of all, survival is everybody wants to get out of this situation. So they try various things to get out of this situation. And time's up, and 30 people get killed, don't they?
Yep, 30 random.
And that point, it becomes a reality.
Yeah.
Then it goes on to say, half of you now need to be killed, don't you? And it starts to develop factions within this office block, doesn't it?
It does. And that is quite accurate to how the human person would behave. Because you see it countless times in other films as well. What's the one with the children on an island?
Lord of the Flies. Now, I studied this book in English literature. And even to this day, it's one of my favourite books. And again, it's like children on a desert island, and you've got you've got ones that want to have a society and try and build a society and have rules and regulations about what you can and what you can't do, and it starts off all very nicey, and then you get the other kids that go, no, let's go back to sort of tribal methods basically, and kill pigs, and
and then you get your factions then as well.
Yeah, you get factions within that, and it gets quite nasty, doesn't it?
It does, but children can.
Oh God, children are the worst.
Yeah.
But I think, although society knocks the edges off those childhood things, they're still there, aren't they? Because they're underlying, like you said, instinctual responses.
Yeah.
So in a paranormal field, when you're put in a situation of fear, although you've got that option to get out, how much is that relevant, do you feel?
Oh God, now you're getting really deep, and it's like 2 minutes to the end of the show.
I know.
I know, it's terrible.
You got to throw it on a cliffhanger.
So for me, I don't really think it's applicable, because, as I said, I want to experience the paranormal activity. So if a medium says, "Oh, don't go in that room because there's a demon in there and it's going to scratch you up," or whatever, then I still want that experience, so I'm going in, because I don't believe that it could.
Is that because you know you're safe, because you can always get out of that situation, though?
Well, yeah, I suppose so, yeah. Because once it's proved it to me, then that's it, that's my job done. I know that it's really there.
What will it take to prove it to you, Paul?
For something to happen.
Like?
Well, I don't know, the scratches would be quite good, because I do like scratch.
Thought you got that every night with your girlfriend. Sorry. Sorry, Steph.
Yeah, just to have that experience. I mean, it doesn't have to be to that extreme either. I mean, I've been on an investigation where this manifestation would sit in an armchair, for example, And this manifestation would be very aggressive. It made you angry. And the two people that sat in the chair before me said, yeah, I can feel it. It's making me angry. I'm getting really annoyed that you're actually here. So I'm like, well, get up, let me sit there. I sat there and felt nothing. And I'm like, no, you're talking rubbish. Totally Looney Tune, both of you.
So how much is that suggestion?
It could be, but then it didn't work for me because they put the idea in that by sitting there it was going to make me feel angry. But I sat there and felt nothing.
See, I've had this recently where somebody said, I want you to look into my face and tell me what you think. And the man's face was showing signs of anger and aggression with facial tics and stuff like that. And basically it was a trance medium kind of situation. Now, because of how I think, I didn't buy into that whatsoever. So I knew what was trying to be had. Now, I can't sit here and say he wasn't being taken over by said spirit because I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I do know, but I can't say for definite. I can only say what I think.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And come out of the experiment, he said, what do you think? And I said, I see it from two different points of view.
Yeah.
So I see it from a spiritual point of view where you reckon that a spirit is taking over you and he's showing me signs of aggression. And then I see it from the psychological point of view, that's how you're trying to make me feel. And I wasn't being made to feel that way because I'm in control of that situation.
Yeah.
And I will not allow that aggression to affect me because I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Under those circumstances, I go into that experiment very guarded, very aware, very logical thinking. And this is sort of the problem, I suppose, of being an investigator rather than a ghost hunter, because you're not buying into stuff so easily.
Yeah. I mean, someone today posted on social media about what do you do to protect yourself from spirit? And I've got my own faith. So I basically said, look, at the end of the day, I know that God's with me. And God will protect me from any negative energies. And to do anything else is just words. It means nothing to me. So I don't partake in any spiritual protection whatsoever, because I have my own faith and my own belief that I'm protected. And it's almost like my shutter's always down to that. So maybe that's why I didn't feel that aggressiveness, because I'm already shut down to it.
Okay.
That would make sense to me.
And then we're going into the talk of, we're doing a show soon, aren't we, on how much your belief system has relevance in the paranormal field.
We are.
We're doing that very, very soon, guys. So don't forget to tune in for that one, because that is going to be an incredibly interesting discussion. Personally, I have had experiences recently where I've actually tried to dismantle belief systems I didn't even realise I had in place. Because I came across a new guide for me that didn't conform to a belief system I didn't even realise I had.
Okay.
So I sent out a banishing ritual against this guide, which was very naughty because I didn't realise it was a guide, because how it appeared. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when I realised, I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You know, I'm so sorry. Come back, talk to me.
Yeah.
And but because it wasn't conforming to my unknown belief system, and that was the point. That's at the point I realised that I didn't realise I even had a belief system in place.
But then just because it's a spiritual thing, isn't it just that spiritualism is your belief?
But even then, there was an underlying belief system I didn't realise was deep set. And that was deep set from childhood, from growing up to a basically COV childhood. You know what I mean? Through the school system.
So, I mean, it is. I mean, even when I was talking to David Parry, I think it was, about Gnosticism.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of what he was talking about actually is something I believe,
Made
but
sense.
I believe it from a Christian Church of England perspective. Yeah. So it was almost like my belief system comes from various different religions, but I still have my belief that doesn't conform to any other religion, but I still hold one. It's an interesting subject, religion.
It's an incredibly interesting subject, and to hear more on that subject, you're going to have to tune into the show that we're going to do on that very, very soon. Check out our Parasearch Facebook page. The event has been raised for that, so you'll find...
Yep.
The dog's off. You're going to have to go to the Facebook page, check out the events, and you'll see the date that we're going to be doing that one on. Now, coming up, because we're running over, Paul. Paul's sorting the dog out, clearly. On Sunday, I have the lovely Ashley Thorpe joining me in the studio. He's talking about the Borley Rectory film that he's done recently. Fascinating person. Definitely tune in for that one. You don't want to miss that one. And then Monday, we have the Parasearch UK Radio Encore show. And we were talking this week to the lovely Jonathan McCoy. That's a replay show that we play out, or we do live on a Thursday on Paramania Network, and we replay it on the Parasearch Radio show. Then Tuesday we're talking about paranormal investigations abroad, I believe.
Yes, we are. And that's with Paul Stevenson.
We're talking about Paul Stevenson. Then on Wednesday, I believe it's Bodmin Jail with Penny on Haunted Histories.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going on. On Thursday, we've got the KTPF show. I'm not quite sure on the subject of that one. But coming soon on a Thursday, we've got Kaz Rooney starting to launch her own show on a Thursday. So listen out for that one. But in the meantime, we're doing the KTPF replay show. Then Friday, we're doing the Dark Mirror show. We haven't decided on a topic for this week yet, I don't believe. Coming. I don't think so. Typical. We always leave it to the last minute, us three. Oh, dear. We fly by the seat of our pants on the Dark Mirror show. Then on Sunday, next Sunday, not this Sunday, we're doing Ashley Thorpe this Sunday. The following Sunday, I've got the lovely Kat Wilson from Blackbird Beauties. And she is an absolutely awesome maker, works with crystals. And one of my friends. And I've got the lovely Claire Hinks joining me in the studio for that one as well. So the next week we have got an absolutely amazing lineup. And guess what it is next Saturday, Paul?
What is it next Saturday?
It's the Parasearch Radio's birthday party.
Yay!
Whoop, whoop.
Have we got cake?
Sorry?
Have we got cake?
Oh, we have cake. We have
awesome.
poppers. We have balloons. We have shots. So I'm going to see what I can sort out for the 21st of October, because that is our birthday party.
I think we should invite Richard Clements back.
I think we need to do that for next Saturday.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he was the start of all of Parasearch's journey.
Yes.
So
Indeed.
let's see what we can arrange for next Saturday evening. I can't believe we're nearly a year old.
I know. It's been so much fun.
We have had so much fun, and we have also had so many guests on.
We have. It's been amazing.
Last year.
And we even the presenters now get invited to other people's radio shows as guests.
I know. And get this, I've been invited to be a speaker at Paranormal Convention.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
Oh dear, we shall see how that one works out. I'm in preliminary talks with that one.
I'm sort of hoping, fingers crossed, that I get to be asked to be guest speaker on a paranormal cruise.
I don't think you're going to get that. I mean, we love our MJ, but I don't think she's that. She wants bigger guests than us.
Oh, you can't get much bigger guests than me.
Or me. Well, this is true. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening to our Paranormal Pop-Up Show. If you missed any of our shows, don't forget you can catch them up on the Spreaker channel as a podcast or on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our shows. Don't forget to like us on our Facebook like page or our Facebook group page. And you'll get to hear lots more gossip and things that are going on in the background from us guys. And on that note, at 10:10, and some people would say that's an angel kind of number, 10:10.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah.
And on that note, we bid you all a very farewell, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Good night, guys. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.